So a couple of days ago, I got a text asking if I'd be down to shoot the Holi festival event that's happening at UBC. UBC? And while I usually don't like shooting events, the Holi festival it looks so exciting, it looks so fun, it's so different and unique. If you don't know what it is, it's nicknamed as the Color Festival. There's just like a bunch of colored paint, colored powder, colored water just flying everywhere, and everyone has such a good time. Okay, so the event is tomorrow, and I feel like right now the most important thing I have to do is make sure my camera is waterproofed so that it doesn't get destroyed with all the powder flying over, all the water flying everywhere. So I looked on Amazon for a couple waterproof cases, but I'm a little too late and they wouldn't arrive in time. Plus they're also a little bit expensive. But a solution I could go with is to create a DIY waterproof case. And I did a little bit of research on that this morning, and it's actually surprisingly easy. All you really need is a Ziploc bag, a lens hood, and a filter. But before I create this insanely safe waterproof case, there is an important decision that I have to make, and that is which lens am I going to use for this event. I have to decide before I go because I'm not going to be switching out the lens at all. As you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of colored powder everywhere, and the last thing I want to do is change my lens and expose the sensor, because inevitably a little bit of dust is going to get in there, and that's just no fun. So back to my lenses. I've got two options. So firstly, I've got a 28 to 70mm f3.5 to 5.6, and this would work really well as a versatile lens, allowing me to get both wide shots when I zoom out to 28mm and nice intimate portraits at 50mm and 70mm. My second option is a 50mm 1.4 prime, which I really like because of the shallow depth of field. I think aesthetically, having a shallow depth of field really lends itself well to the vibe and the energy of the Holi festival. The only problem is I'm fixed at 50mm, but I think that's a sacrifice worth making because a shallow depth of field, in my opinion, will add so much to the shots. Also, 50mm is a great focal length for portraits, and ultimately I'd want to capture people's emotions, people's facial expressions, just to show how much of a good time this event is. So yeah, all in all, the 50mm lens is what I'm gonna go with. So let's make the case to work with a 50mm lens. So firstly, I put a circular polarizer filter onto the top of the lens. And then I put the whole camera inside of the Ziploc bag and then pulled the bottom of the Ziploc bag tightly around the lens. And then with the Ziploc pulled super tight, I put the lens hood on so the Ziploc would stay in place. And then I took a knife and cut super carefully around the perimeter of the lens so that there's no part of the Ziploc bag covering any part of the lens. And that's pretty much it. The reason I decided to put the circular polarizer onto the lens was firstly just for protection. Initially, I just wanted to put a clear filter over the lens so that the lens would be protected, but then I realized I had a circular polarizer filter and it would just intensify a lot of the colors, just make them more vivid and vibrant, which I think can only be a good thing when shooting the Holi festival. So we'll see how that works out. I might end up taking it off, but in my opinion, I think it's gonna go really well. So yeah, everything is fully prepared and ready to go. I'm just gonna make sure my SD card is empty, my batteries are full, and wait till tomorrow morning. It's kind of rainy. I think it should be fine though, because everyone's gonna be wet anyway, so I think the shoe will still go on. But it's gonna be cold. So it wasn't until after I got to the event did I realize what the actual event was going to be. Okay, now that we're here, to be honest, this isn't really what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting like a festival type thing. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. But this is super cool. Never been to like a backstage of a DJ booth before, so it's first for me. Just definitely super excited. There's like food trucks over there, I think, and like a kiddie pool, which I think people will just go into. And then yeah, just the main attraction, the stage. So yeah, super excited about that. This should be fun. I'm super excited, super hyped. So yeah, it was the first time I'd been given access to a proper backstage DJ booth at a festival. And so before everyone arrived, I decided I would go up and just try and take some test shots and try and work out what kind of shots I wanted to get, just to plan things out in my head before all the crowds of people arrived. You know, those shots from behind the DJ with the DJ's hands up in the air, audience going crazy in the background, smoke coming out of the smoke machines, just completely epic shots of the DJ. So I was super excited to get those kind of shots. But then people arrived and the party started. So I started taking photos of them. 20 minutes in and I'm full color already, but it's kind of fun, I love it. Then I thought, you know what? It's time to head to the DJ booth and get some photos of the DJ. So I walk over to go to backstage, but the security guard wouldn't let me in. Unfortunately, I've got too much color on me now, and they're not letting me backstage. So I guess that's
that for DJ photos. But anyways, there's a lot of people now, and it's pretty fun.
And this was kind of annoying. I mean, I really wanted to get those shots, and despite my cheerful appearance, I was actually kind of disappointed. But anyways, in these type of situations, all you can really do is look on the bright side. And then I realized there are actually a couple advantages to not needing to stay clean, to not needing to stay away from the action so you wouldn't get color on, and that is that you can get into the action and get a lot more intimate photos that way. Most of the other photographers there cleverly stayed a fair distance away from the action so that they wouldn't get splattered with paint, and they were able to still go backstage and take some photos of the DJ. So I guess I then switched my attention to getting the shots that they couldn't get, those more intimate shots of the people partying. And the only way to get those is to actually get into the action and join the party.
Alright, let's do a quick walk through the center, see what it's like. Alright, we're taking photos now.
Yeah, so my tactic, I guess, for this shoot was just to head straight on into the crowds. And that leads me to my first tip of shooting the Holi Festival, which is just to get involved as much as you can and aim to find people that were having a good time. And I mean, that's not so hard. I mean, everyone there was having a good time, but just capture those people in the moment. And for me personally, I'm definitely a very introverted person, so this was a little outside of the comfort zone for me, but a way to kind of make it easier was just to think of myself as part of the party, which is why I was so happy to get all the color sprayed on me, and also allowed me to be viewed not just as a photographer, but also as just another person enjoying the festival. And kind of just created an automatic connection between me and a lot of the people I was trying to take photos with. A lot of the time I wouldn't even have to talk to anyone in order to get the photos. They would come up to me and ask for a photo, or I would just, hold my camera up to them and they would kind of react to the camera. And the fact that I didn't even have to talk a lot of the time was just an absolute bonus. Also, another thing, it was nice to just get people to pose up with their friends, because there's definitely photos that those people are gonna hold strong memories to and they're gonna want to look back at later on. And it's also just a guarantee that you don't capture people with weird facial expressions, because at the end of the day I was paid to provide at least 100 photos, so this was just a way I could be sure I captured a certain amount of photos. Moving on to tip number 2, and this is more technical, but never ever under any circumstance take your camera out of your case or your Ziploc bag. And definitely don't change your lens, battery, or SD card at all. As I mentioned before, if you do this, a bunch of the colored powder is inevitably going to make its way onto your sensors or into the compartments of your camera, and you just don't want that to happen. But even just taking your camera out of the case can be quite bad. I was super tempted to, because looking through the Ziploc bag into the viewfinder wasn't my favorite thing to do. It was a little blurry. This is what it looked like. Not the best visibility for sure, but I can't imagine what my camera would look like right now if I had taken it out of the bag. Probably wouldn't be recording this YouTube video if I had. And my last tip of the day is just to try to incorporate some foreground elements into your shots. Just having some out of focus elements, be it someone's hands that they're holding out in front of them, or some powder that's flying in the air, or someone else in front of the person that you're taking a photo of. It's just nice to add another layer into your image to try to add some depth. The foreground layer can almost be thought as like an introduction to the image, inviting the audience into it, just kind of making the photo as a whole feel more complete. And if you incorporate this, someone who's looking at the photo will definitely get a much better feel of what it was like to be at the event. And with that nice shallow depth of field, it looks really good, but also just allows you to highlight your subject just a little bit better. And that's it for today. Good luck if you're going out to shoot the Holi Festival. Also, leave a comment down below if you've been to a Holi Festival or if you're trying to go to one. I personally really want to go to India's Holi Festival at some point. It seems absolutely wild. But that's just gonna be on the bucket list for now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.